Hello to all of my lovelies and welcome back for another weekly pick a card reading. Today's reading is going to be all about your progress. Spirit actually wants to come through and congratulate you and get very specific about what they are proud of you for evolving, changing, moving past, working through. Some of these things may not even be things that you yourself have recognized, and Spirit wants to applaud you, wants to congratulate you, give you a pat on the back and a bit of encouragement because they have noticed even the things you haven't taken note of, and that's what they want to talk to you about today. So here in just a bit, we will flash an image of the piles. I have 6 piles for today, and I will meet you guys there. So see you in just a bit. Love you guys. Hey Pile 1, and welcome to your reading. Can't wait to see what Spirit has to say to you. I do want to let you all know that there's some construction work going on at the house next door. I'm hoping that doesn't come through on the mic, but if it does, my apologies. I'll try to clip out as much as I can or adjust the volume and everything so that doesn't come through. But okay, so let's start with looking at your card topper that you all chose, which was the lapis lazuli, a beautiful, beautiful stone. It's like this deep blue color. Let's see what it says. Who needs it? Cat people, Leos, anyone who uses the phrase, in a past life, I'm totally convinced I was ... When to use it? When your thoughts are not your friends, call on lapis lazuli to help get you out of whatever your mind has gotten you into. And on the bottom, they always have a little phrase here. It says, ascend your rightful throne. Okay, so I know that I have a lot of followers who are Leos or have like a Leo sun, moon, or rising. I think it's because I'm a Leo sun, and so I tend to, energies tend to attract other like energies. So if you pick this pile, you could be a Leo, and that could be as direct as it gets. But it sounds like something Spirit wants to congratulate you on, at least for this past year, is you evolving into your inner confidence, like really healing your ego, really stepping into that throne, recognizing that you are a light, you are worthy of adoration, worthy of applause. Yeah, you guys just feel really into yourselves right now, and Spirit is actually really proud of you for that because they are taking me back to a time, maybe a few years ago, where you were in a very opposite sort of energy, where you really felt like crap, where you really had a hard time talking kindly to yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror and liking what you saw, or at least showing love for what you saw, love for yourself. And so I'm interested to see in what areas of your life this is really affected. But Spirit's really, really proud of you for this. And they also want you to enjoy this, relish in it. They don't want you feeling guilty or questioning. Like as you're stepping into this confidence, don't question like, am I being egotistical, or is it superficial to be too into myself? Am I being selfish? No, this feels really, really healthy and good. We all deserve love, and we most especially deserve that love from ourselves. So you guys are doing a really awesome job at that. Lapis lazuli is also connected to the blue chakra, our throat chakra, and it assists with the throat chakra in opening that as well. So I also feel like with this new boost of confidence, you have become more outspoken, more authentic with your opinions. Some of you may be getting into performance arts, maybe starting your own channels or your blogs, getting inspired to write a book. But it doesn't have to be like in a career way. It could be a hobby, or this could just be about in general with people, your friends, your relationships. You're finding it easier to communicate what you're thinking. You're not feeling insecure and withholding too much. So Spirit's really, really proud of you for that. Okay, let's roll the die and then we'll take a look at the tarot. Oracles will be after that. All right, yep. We have the North Node in Taurus in the second house. So some of you could have your North Node in the second house or in Taurus. Doesn't have to be though. But the North Node is about what's really foreign to us, like this thing we can see and we're really intrigued by or even obsessed with, but we know that we know nothing about it. Like it's a new sort of territory for us. And the second house in Taurus, they're about our self-worth, our net worth, the possessions that we own, but also we are our own sort of possession, so it implies to our own inherent value. This also is associated with the throat chakra, the voice, communicating, even just the way we speak. Some of you, it's not that you even speak any more or less than you did before, but the way you speak has changed. There's almost this confidence in the way the words now roll off your tongue, or the way your hands move as you speak, or I don't know, but there's something there that has been boosted. And it's like you become a little bit more flamboyant, a little bit more charming in the way that you speak and communicate and use your voice. And this does feel, with the North Node being there, that just indicates to me, or what Spirit's trying to show me, is that this truly is something new that you're stepping into. This feeling of a sense of pride and confidence in who you are and what you have accomplished and what your talents are. I feel like you guys are now getting comfortable owning what your skills are, and also comfortable receiving compliments. Like when someone compliments you, you've really been working hard to, okay, I'm not going to diminish myself with their compliment. I'm just going to say thank you and just enjoy the receiving of that compliment. Because I feel like before, you guys may have been the types that someone compliments you and you feel guilty. You feel like you need to put yourself down. Like, oh, really? Oh, I just slapped this makeup on like 10 minutes ago. Oh, this old thing? No, I got this for free. My sister gave this to me. Or, like you feel like you have to dim your shine for people because that's the polite thing to do. But now I see that you guys, there's been an eclipse moment for you guys. That's what the North Node affects. Whenever the North Node gets close to the moon, it creates an eclipse. And eclipses are periods of our life where all of a sudden, very rapidly, something gets eclipsed out of our life. That's where that phrase comes from. It eclipses out of our life, just like the sun and moon eclipse one another. So it's weird because this happened really rapidly for you. It's like you all realized a lot within a really short time. Some of you may have been doing therapy recently, and that may have been, or read a certain self-help book that really awoke you to a lot. Spirit's really wanting to applaud you and pat you on the back for seeking out this sort of knowledge about yourself, analyzing what confidence really is, what authenticity really is. I'm even seeing a lot, they're showing me lots of inspirational quotes. I know that's such a cliche, cheesy sort of thing, okay, but that's what they're showing me. Like a Google search for quotes. So it's not that you're necessarily posting these on your social media, although you could be with an attractive photo of yourself, who knows. But what they're showing me is we're really glad that they're doing that they're looking up these inspirational people and the inspirational things that they've said, and you guys just feel really, really, you feel vibrant right now. You guys feel bold, you feel bright, you feel like you're just glistening and sparkling. In fact, some of you, I feel, have invested in your wardrobe or your self-care routine, diet. I feel like a lot of you have recently purchased an expensive item of jewelry that you've always wanted, or some sort of name brand purse, or got on a certain diet and lost a certain amount of weight, or built up your muscles, or something like that. It's like you guys have really been investing into yourself, and where you maybe years ago, or I feel like actually from your childhood and childhood conditioning, I feel like your parents may have been the type of people who were thrifters, not the type of people to go and indulge and spend a lot of money on themselves or on possessions. And so it's kind of ingrained into your head, like, oh, decent people don't do that. That's something superficial. I don't need things to feel good about myself. And while that is true, yes, we don't need to. But you know what? If the money is there, if you've paid the bills, if you're not going into debt, if it's something that's going to hold its value, that's really going to make you feel good, that's something you can keep forever, then why not? And I feel like there is some sort of expensive item that either you guys have been looking at and still contemplating, should I get it? Or you've recently purchased for yourself, and Spirit also doesn't want you to feel guilty about that. Like, you guys really aren't the type of people that are known to like overdo it. You're not buying yourself stuff all the time. So every once in a while, if you want to go get your nails done, if you want to get a massage, if you want to get that gym membership, yeah, maybe it's an expensive gym, but if you can afford it, it's going to be an investment in your health. I feel like these are things you guys have been rationalizing, realizing that, self-worth, net worth, they're all connected. And it's time for me to indulge in myself and increase my confidence, because when my confidence is boosted, when my confidence is high, everything around me, everything that I do, every action that I take becomes more effective, more efficient, more profound. So it does end up paying itself back. Kind of like, it's kind of like making, for example, when someone goes to college to become a doctor, let's say, or a lawyer. Initially, they have to pour a lot of money into that college degree and a lot of debt, but it's like they go into it knowing that the payoff will be worth it. You know, once I graduate, become an actual doctor, go out in the field and start working as a surgeon or whatever, this debt from college, it's going to get itself paid off, because the amount of money I'm making now that I'm out of college is, you know, so large that no big deal that I have this debt. It'll pay off quickly. That's the type of thinking you guys it feels like you're having now, where before you may have had this dream of becoming a doctor, but like the fear of the college debt kept you from it, thinking, oh no, it's not logical to get in that much debt. Now you're looking at it like, okay, wait, it is a lot of debt, but if it's to become a doctor, doctors are guaranteed to make money, guaranteed to make a lot of money, at least in the US. So the payoff's worth it, so I'm gonna do it. So your whole mindset's really changed. And look, I haven't even gotten into the tarot cards and they've already said so much. So let's look at the tarot. Okay, we have Page of Swords. This is air energy, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Then we have 10 of Pentacles. Look at all that money. Queen of Swords, more Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. King of Cups. This is water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And 10 of Swords, a lot of air energy here. So yeah, your mindset has been what's really, really changed and shifted. And look at this. This Page of Swords typically represents a period of kind of investigating something, collecting data on something. And notice how she's looking straight at the 10 of Pentacles card, which is about self-worth. It's about a legacy. It's about being well off financially, what it means to feel secure, cared for, stable. And so it feels like you guys have really been looking into this for yourself, even following. You know, I definitely feel like you guys have a few people that you follow, that you look up to, that have quite large platforms themselves, and that you've really been soaking in what they've been speaking and really learning a lot from them as well. It's really, really shifted your perspective. And I also get a sense with the Queen of Swords, I feel like you guys are more this air energy naturally. But this Queen of Swords kind of looking to the King of Cups, you guys have also, where I feel like for the first part of your life or much of your life, you're very naturally logic oriented. I wouldn't describe you guys as emotional sorts of people, but of course we all have emotions. And I feel like in the past, when the emotions were there would be a tendency to, I got to get rid of these. I got to cut these off and just get rid of them. These emotions are just going to get into my way. No, I've got to be all logic. Feels like recently you've been trying to balance this out and going, okay, wait a second. I don't want my emotions to control me. But maybe instead of pushing them away, I should kind of investigate and listen, see what they have to say, allow them to guide me a bit, get to know more about these emotions and why I'm feeling them, which is just incredible. You guys are doing such an amazing job. And then, of course, with the 10 of Swords, this card is about an ending. And with swords being here, it's about thought patterns, communication, our way of thinking, our perspective. You guys have really successfully killed off something that was inhibiting your confidence, your growth as a person, your ability to feel good about yourself. You have successfully killed it off. And it's all been through this mental work that you've done. So I'm not talking about necessarily something outside of you, people, things, places outside of you. This has been all internal, and you guys have done a freaking amazing job. Okay, let's look at the oracle cards here. All right, we have the woman or man with the life ring and the emergency kit. Look at this. We've got the girl who doesn't properly see who she is when she looks in the mirror. She sees an exaggerated version of herself with a focus on the negatives. And this list here are all the things that she doesn't like about herself that she needs to fix. Oh, and it's also about her weight goal, her exercise goal, calorie counting, but it's like very, very meticulous. So it's an unhealthy form of dieting, weight loss, and getting back to a place of confidence. A lot to talk about in that card, but I want to look at the rest here. Okay, from the Mona Lisa deck, we have, when my mind and heart are aligned, what I have to say reveals genuine integrity. which makes people want to listen to me. This is a healthy self-esteem card. Not surprised to see that. Then we have a healthy relationships card. It says, I lovingly release disappointment in old relationships so I can give birth to new ones. And then from the surrender deck, and these are things that you guys have successfully surrendered to in the past few months. So this is not something you need to do now. It's something Spirit's congratulating you on doing. So we have surrender to joy, beautiful, and surrender to effortlessness. Okay, I'm glad I flipped through all the cards before I talked about this, because these are opposites here. This is what you guys have successfully done. You have been able to surrender to a sense of effortlessness with your life, not overly criticizing yourself, not constricting yourself, not suffocating yourself in your negative thoughts. And I feel like you guys have found a healthy way to view yourself, as well as a healthy way to talk and communicate to yourself and to push yourself towards progress. Whereas before in the past, the self-worth was so low that your way of kind of motivating yourself was kind of toxic and harmful and hurtful to you. So it feels like you guys have really healed a lot of things. And then the healthy self-esteem card, it's talking about communicating with the mind and the heart. That's what this is here. The Queen of Swords is the mind, the King of Cups is the heart. Finally, this queen has been facing this king, whereas before I feel like this queen was all on her own. So I don't know if you guys have realized this. This may be something that people outside of you are thinking but not voicing to you, but my God, your way of communication and speaking has done a complete 180 since a few years back. Friends, family, they're all thinking now, like looking back on who used to be and thinking, wow, the way he or she talks now is so much more calm. I find it easier to empathize and understand them with the way that they speak, because instead of them speaking so direct and so cutting and kind of taking out all the emotion, maybe sometimes being a bit harsh, now they know how to be vulnerable when they speak. They know how to really open up, and I feel like I have the ability to connect with them finally. That's what the people around you are feeling and thinking. So your way of communication has drastically changed. You have a warmer tone, and you're also doing a great job of balancing out your logic, as well as like your anger, your irritation, which we're all going to have at moments, but you have a really nice way of balancing that out with vulnerability, openness, sensitivity. You know, so even if you are angry, it's like Spirit's kind of showing me that you'll be like, I'm really ticked off because you did blah, blah, blah. And that made me feel like this. That made me feel overlooked. You add the emotions in with it so that the person you're speaking to can understand, oh, okay, I feel terrible. I made them feel that way. I don't know, it just seems to flow a lot better. And then this card here, I lovingly release disappointment in old relationships so I can give birth to new ones. This is another thing you're doing a better job at. This person here with the life ring, look, they're just showing up on someone's doorstep with all the kits ready to go. What do I need to say? What do I need to do? I feel like you guys felt obligated to be that person for people for a long time. And it also, this sense of responsibility you had towards the people you cared about depleted you and made you feel like, oh gosh, relationships are just exhausting. Some of you may have become quite reclusive because you just always felt drained when you came back from interacting with most people in your life. But it was because you were putting this immense amount of responsibility to accept everything about everyone, to help save people, to assist people, to guide them. And a lot of times the people weren't even asking you for that. But there was also some people who were asking and knew that you were always going to give it. So you just got really exhausted and started to question, like, maybe relationships aren't for me. I don't think I want to meet any more new people. Like, I'm overwhelmed with the ones that I have. But this is flipped. You're now releasing. It's like you're now starting to analyze and look at, okay, well, I can't change this person. It's not my responsibility to save this person, to guide them. They're their own person. But what I can do is I can change my own behavior. I can distance myself from the things that I'm truly not responsible for. You know, I'm responsible for my well-being, my children's well-being, you know, but I'm not responsible for everyone else. I'm just a person too. And by you recognizing that and pulling back from some of those actions or relationships, there's been a refreshing of your energy. Whereas before it was always depleted. Your cup was always running dry because you were giving it out. Now it's like, ooh, I feel like I can breathe good. Like I feel like I look good. I feel I feel my vitality, my energy levels up. It's like the sun's really shining over you, and you've been able to surrender to your own inner joy, your happiness. I see you guys laughing more. I see you expressing all the emotions more. I even see you crying more. I feel like there's been a few moments the past few months where you have successfully gotten vulnerable with some people in your life and been able to shed a few tears, which has been so needed. And I also know that you guys felt such relief and so good after getting that off of your chest, like crying it out. So you're understanding your emotions better, and Spirit's really, really, really proud of you for the progress that you've made. Keep pushing forward, keep evolving, keep transcending and transforming. Best of luck to you guys. I want to thank you so much for coming to this reading, allowing me to do this for you and be a vessel of communication between you and Spirit. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button before you go. I really appreciate it when you all do that. Love you guys. Bye. Hey Group 2, welcome to your reading. I can't wait to see what Spirit wants to congratulate you on, what sort of progress you have made. Let's start by looking at the card topper you all gravitated towards. And this is selenite. It's very good for energy clearing. I have a selenite wand back at home that sometimes I'll place above the cards in my reading because it just cleanses everything. So there could have been a lot of cleansing going on with you guys that Spirit wants to applaud you for. Let's see. Who needs it? It says healers, believers, and those that are currently cleansing. Jews, technology, etc. It says when to use it. When you move into a new space and want any lingering bad juju to vamoose. When you pray to gods above. When you've been working with crystals and want to clear away energy they've picked up in the process. Give them a gentle tap with selenite. And at the bottom, there's always a little phrase. It says, clear your path to enlightenment. Ooh, okay, so I feel like aside from the whole cleansing thing I was touching on, you guys have been stepping into your spirituality. I feel like I have a few brand new tarot believers here, so welcome to the reading, and congratulations on your journey into ascension. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of prayer around you all. I'm seeing a few very specific angels coming through that you're really, really connecting to. They could be deities and things as well, but I'm seeing these big white wings. So I think for most of you, it is angelic energy that you are praying to and connecting to. A lot of you are meant to be healers in some way, either through spirituality, like what I do, or astrology, Reiki healing. Some of you, though, like even as a doctor, as a nurse, as a chiropractor, or even a dentist, but something that has to do with healing of the body, mind, spirit therapist. Okay, so this is my group of healers here, but a lot of you are really stepping into your version of spirituality, not necessarily what you were raised with, but you're finally opening up to the other religions that exist, the different ways that we can connect to the divine. What does God mean to me? All these sorts of things. And Spirit's like, yes, yes, we're so happy to have you here. Like, welcome, come in. I'm seeing three specific angels keep coming through, and they're pure white. So I'm not sure which three angels they are, but I feel like you guys have three very specific guardian angels, angels that you're praying to, or angels that are working with you at this time as you are kind of accelerating your energy, praying, meditating, getting your own tarot deck, whatever it is you're doing. And they're really excited and just happy to be able to connect with you in a more direct way than what they have been up to this point. So let's take a roll of the die, and then we'll look at the tarot cards and then get into the oracles. Yep, yeah, we have the 12th house. So we have Uranus in the 12th house in Scorpio. So Uranus is the planet of the higher mind, like the mind of the gods is what they say, whereas Mercury is the planet of the human mind, or just the typical mind. So Uranus is kind of like an octave above Mercury. It's a planet of rebellion, of shock, of aha moments. It's like that zap of electricity kind of going into your brain and being like, wait, what? It's like you realize a lot all of a sudden. 12th house is about foreign lands, foreign travel, but it's also about like quiet spirituality, a spirituality in solitude, a healing in silence, as well as communication with the divine and with the subconscious. I feel like a lot of you have had some pretty interesting dreams. A lot of you are being overwhelmed with synchronicities, certain numbers you keep seeing, certain animals or insects that are crossing your path, like all sorts of signs. And Scorpio is a sign of obsession, of investigation, of going deep, deep down into the darkness and wanting to look at all the data, understand all of it. But it's also a sign of death and transformation, complete rebirth. And I feel like you guys over the past few months have literally buried a grave for your old self, your former self, and you have been reborn again. And you look back, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and the values of that person, the thought patterns, the beliefs are so drastically different from who you are now. And Spirit recognizes that and really wants to pat you on the back for all of that progress. 12th house, Scorpio, Uranus, those are all really heavy, heavy energies. Those are energies that a lot of people don't want to mess with. They're like, no, that's a little too much. I'm going to stay quietly over here in my ignorance, Ignorance is bliss, right? You guys actually chose to not uphold ignorance any longer. You're like, I don't care if no longer being ignorant to this does take away my bliss. I want to know all. I want to understand myself fully. I want to unlock the mysteries of the universe. So this has all played a big part in transforming you and preparing you for your life ahead, which will be as a really healing energy and presence for a lot of people. Okay, let's look at the tarot. We have Ace of Swords, the World, wow, the Emperor. We already have 2 major arcana, pretty amazing. Knight of Pentacles and 5 of Cups. Now, Knight of Pentacles and 5 of Cups were in reverse, and I don't always do reversals, but I feel like I need to for this one. All right, okay, so Ace of Swords, this is all about clearing away the bull crap, cutting through the red tape, getting to the meat of what it is you're after, really cutting stuff away. I kind of look at this card and sometimes see just scissors, like clip, 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 snip, snip. Let's get this out, get this out. So I feel like you guys have unpacked a lot of boxes that were down in your subconscious. You've really been analyzing what makes you you, what makes the universe this way, why is there this pattern, why do people do this? It's like you've got your little sword and you're just cutting through this thick forest, cutting through all the vines, the bushes to clear away a path. Actually the scene they're showing me is, Sleeping Beauty, when the prince goes to save Aurora, but the dragon's there. Maleficent's turned into a dragon, and she grows all of these thick thorns in front of the castle so that he won't be able to get through. And so he's got his sword and he's cutting through each thorn bush to get to the dragon, which a lot of people would look at and say, well, I don't want to cut through those thorns if it's going to take me to a dragon. Like, screw that. I'm going to go back home. Aurora, you're sleeping. You're fine. You'll never know. But that bravery, that courageousness of, no, I've got to cut through this. I don't care if there's a dragon on the other side. I want to know that I tried. I want to know that I, looked for everything that was there, that looked it right in the face. So there's a courageousness that's been within you, guiding you through all of this, and you've truly faced the inner demons. You've looked your own personal dragon right in the face and dealt with it head on, and Spirit's really proud of you for that. And the World card is all about achievement and progress after like a really long and tiring process. This is about achievement after something you've put a lot into. This isn't something that comes easy. It's tough. And so once you finally get to that goal, it's like you just feel liberated. Now, this card is also associated with foreign lands, like the 12th house. So this could be coming into play. Some of you could be wanting to live in another country, wanting to learn another language, or just wanting to travel in general to help open up your mind. But you have really, it's like Spirit is actually showing me a diploma that they're wanting to hand you. Like, you have earned the diploma. Congratulations. You've done such a good job. They're putting the little cap and gown on you and wanting to hand it to you, sign it, hand it to you, put a ribbon around it. And this is all about this spiritual progress that you've made. But there's also been a strengthening of your ability to take care of what's under your domain, to draw boundary lines around that. I think before there was actually almost like a leakage of energy within your space and yourself. Everything was very undefined in terms of, oh, well, these are the rules for my life, and these are the boundary lines that I have that I don't allow people to cross. And it's almost like none of that was defined or mapped out. So it feels like your energy was very much convoluted with everyone else's, with your families and your friends, your spouses. But it feels like as you've discovered your own spiritual roots and what it is you believe in, it's strengthened you to be able to draw the boundary lines you need to draw and really take care of your domain and take care of things that are truly your responsibility. And you know what? That is something that you do have to learn when you really step into spirituality, at least if you're wanting to do spiritual work as a healer, like a tarot reader or a medium, any of that sort of thing. Yeah, that was a process I had to go through, because when you open yourself up to the energies of the spirit world, a lot can come in, a lot can download, and sometimes not all of it's good. And it's our responsibility to take care of our energy and make sure that we're drawing the boundary lines, whether that's saging the space, praying before we go into our tarot reading that we're going to do, doing a protection meditation, those sorts of things. And so as you've been doing that, that's been naturally just a part of your curiosity of looking into this spiritual realm, it is actually reflected in your everyday life as well. You're now understanding how important it is to guard and protect and maintain your energy, even with not just spirits, but the people in your everyday life, your bosses, your clients, your friends and family. And Spirit's proud of you for that, for taking ownership of what you are responsible for, your energy, and caring for it. And being a good job of being strong and in charge when it comes to that, not backing down when you know, no, this is my boundary line. Look right there, there's the fence. I did not say you could cross into it, so bye. You know, the emperor is not in fear. He knows his power, he knows his strength, he's not weak, and you guys are doing a really, really good job of that. Now, a couple other things that you guys have been doing really great at. First of all, let's talk about the Knight of Pentacles. You guys have, this is in reverse, right? So when it's upright, the Knight of Pentacles is this knight who is planting seeds for his future. Let's say he's decided that he wants to have a vineyard, okay? So he's planting the grape plants, grape trees, which are going to take many years to grow, right? But he knows that if he keeps tending to them, eventually they're going to grow, and he's going to have this vineyard to care for. It feels like you guys are actually have started doing the opposite, but in a really good way, okay? This is a positive thing for you all. I feel like before, you guys were the type of people who really needed to plan out every part of your life to a T. Otherwise, you would get really stressed out. Like, no, I have to make sure that I study at this college and get this degree, or I have to save up this amount of money, or no, I'm planning on living here. Oh, I've always said that I was going to marry a person that checked the X, Y, and Z box. Like, really, really, I feel like even as kids, you guys did this, okay? After this spiritual awakening that you've stepped into, you now have this deeper understanding that, you know what? Not everything in my life is under my control. Now, my responsibilities, my energy, my domain, yes, absolutely. But there are a lot of experiences, there are a lot of things I signed up for in this lifetime that are out of my control. And sometimes life is better lived when I do leave myself open to what Spirit wants to bring me, instead of always planning it myself without consulting God, without allowing myself to flow with life, okay? Because I feel like your inability to flow with life also left you in a grieving state a lot of the time. Because when any little thing would go off course, not go according to plan, it devastated you, even more so than it should have. Or longer, drawn out longer. It took you longer to move past it because you just kept clinging to, oh, I just want to rewind time and do that differently, or not make that mistake, or not do this. This was always the plan. I had my heart set on this. So you had cut yourself off from your ability to flow with life. But now you guys have stepped out of that. Now it's like it takes a lot to really get you anxious about something. I don't see you guys having like anxiety issues really anymore. You take your responsibilities seriously, but you're no longer like writing down in a notebook what your life's going to look like 50 years from now. You're like, no, okay, let me plan out the next few months, kind of what I would like to accomplish or do, but no more of trying to map out my life for the next 20 years, because life is too unpredictable. I want to keep myself open to God and what God wants to bring me. So not going to worry about it, not going to do that. And Spirit's really proud of you for that. Also proud of you for being able to let go of some things from your past, some failed relationships, some failed classes, maybe a change in career, something like that was kind of screwed up for you, and you really had your heart set on it, and I feel like you clung on to that grief for a long time of like, my life was supposed to be this other way, okay? But you finally released it. You're finally okay with it. You have blessed that part of your past, and you understand now how it led you to where you are now, and that you're not always the best person to plan everything for your life, but you've been able to release it. Some of you may have had surprise or accidental pregnancies that threw you off course. You may have had someone you really loved that broke up with you, gone through a divorce that you didn't want or expect, something like had your heart set on a particular college but couldn't get the ACT score to get in, or couldn't get enough money to go, something like that, okay? But you finally like released it and been like, okay, maybe I'll get to that later, but right now I've got to follow where my life is taking me currently and take care of things day to day. So I remember my boss back when I worked at the bank, she told me, because I used to be this way like you guys are in terms of planning and stuff. And I would get myself overwhelmed really easily at work, especially when there were certain sales goals and things that I had to meet. I'd get so much anxiety when it would get close to the end of the month and I hadn't reached all my sales goals. And she looked at me one day in the office as I was having a chat with her and just riddled with anxiety. And she said, Addison, do you know how you eat an elephant? How do you know, have you heard of like the process by which how you eat an entire elephant? And I thought, why is she asking me this? And I mean, how could anyone eat an entire elephant? And I said, no. And she said, one bite at a time. And she said, stop worrying about the end of the month, focus on today, and what's done at the end of the day, you know, that's what was able to be done. Worry about tomorrow. Worry about sales goals next month. You're not doing yourself any favors by getting yourself in a spiral over these negative predictions you have about your future. You eat an entire elephant one bite at a time. She's like, focus on one bite for today, okay? And then pat yourself on the back when you take that one bite. And that really stuck with me. It was over like 7 years ago that she told me that, but it's really stuck with me. And I can see that that's where you guys have moved in terms of your own life, one bite at a time, right? Okay, let's look at the oracles. All right, we've got the business people, and notice they are definitely not stopping to smell the flowers beneath them. They're glued to their phones and their work. Oh, wow. Then we've got this. Is he a principal? He's some sort of boss, maybe a principal, shouting orders at people over the microphone, and notice they're all kind of nervous and worried. Okay, we have a healing anger card. It says, I learn to love both the positive and the negative aspects of others as I grow to love my own strengths and weaknesses. Beautiful. And then we have a healing sadness card. It says, things are happening as they should around me. That's beautiful. It goes very well with what I was talking about here with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, let's see what you guys have successfully surrendered over the past few months. You guys have surrendered your attachment to results. Oh, I love it when the cards line up. And you guys have surrendered the habit of people pleasing. This is fantastic, you guys. Yeah, so I feel like for a lot of you, guys actually, I think a lot of you have a life story kind of similar to my own, okay? I feel like a lot of you have been caught up in the corporate world or the idea of the corporate world and kind of thinking that this is where I have to head and I have to be here by this age and I have to have accomplished this by this age, and you know, I've got to pour myself into work. I want to be a successful person. And doing that did cause you in the past to fall into this habit of people pleasing. Because I mean, that is how you kind of rise up through, well, not everyone does that, but I'll say I did that. For me to rise up through the corporate world when I was in banking, I did put up with a lot of crap from a lot of people because I just never wanted to burn any bridges. I was like, if everyone at work loves and adores me, especially my bosses, but not even just my bosses, everyone, the chances of me getting a promotion, you know, being well respected are increased. But a lot of people did mistreat me and I didn't speak up for myself when that happened. And I see that you guys have finally, like, you're done with that. You're not hateful people. It's not like, oh, now I'm going to take out my anger on people because I'm no longer people pleasing. But you found a way to focus on being authentic versus people pleasing. You know, like if my coworker says that they're of this political belief or of this religion, I'm not going to also pretend that I am, just because maybe that'll make them like me more. You know, I either just won't say anything, I won't indulge the conversation because I don't want to get into politics or religion at work, or if I am going to say something, I'll just very calmly say, like, I'm actually, you know, I'm part of this political party, or I'm a part of this religion, or, you know, I don't really, I feel that's a private subject for me, and you know, there's nice ways to be authentic. And so it feels like that's what you guys have stepped into, and Spirit's really happy for you seeing you do this. And I feel like a lot of stress and anxiety is just sliding off of your back, off your shoulders. To surrender your attachment to results, same thing as what I was talking about here. You finally realized that there are other, you finally conceded to the fact that there are other forces outside of you that you can't control, whether that be other people, whether that be life itself, that's always going to have unexpected highs and lows. You know, you're finally recognizing that, okay, this is how much I can do. I can do these things. This is under my control. These other things aren't, and I am now accepting that life will sometimes throw me a curveball, and that's okay. I can roll with it. I'm just going to focus on doing my best, accepting that whatever's happening is happening as it should around me, just like this card says. And you know, the 12th house, which came up in the die, is about endings. It's the very last house in the zodiac. It is about ending something to enter into a new beginning. A lot of you, I feel like, are really contemplating actually leaving the corporate world behind. I think some of you will. I think others of you are actually going to not leave the corporate world entirely, but maybe leave the corporation that you're at. Maybe find a corporation or a line of work that just aligns better with who you are now that you've kind of been reborn. And I think a lot of you will find that. In fact, I think it will be a lot easier for you guys to finish up this transformation if you do somehow move into a new job or a new career. Because speaking from my experience, to go from someone who is extremely people-pleasing with everyone around me, and they get very adjusted to that dynamic and that relationship, not thinking that I'm trying to people please them, you know, of course not, that's my own problem. But then for me to kind of do a 180 and all of a sudden no longer be that way, it's not that it's impossible, but I guess it's a lot more tense. You feel like there's a lot more explaining that you have to do. People want to question it, versus if you just start off at a new place and this is the personality you have, just authentically you, it's easier to navigate. So I do feel that Spirit wants to encourage you to really find an industry, a company, a line of work that really feels authentic to you. I feel like you guys can be of service and of help to so many different people. But it's not just about how you can help others. That's a key component of it. You guys are so good at helping people that you could really go into any line of work with that. Spirit really wants you to find the line of work where you can help others, but also walk away feeling fulfilled, not feeling depleted, okay? But you guys are going to be highly successful individuals, and Spirit's really, really happy to see how you have blossomed into the person that you are today, how you've shed this mask, shed this old skin, really looked deep into your subconscious, really opened yourself to the spiritual realm, and you guys are just, I'm just seeing lots of white, just like selenite, like a cleansing all around you, and a healing of the grief, letting go of the control, like really being connected and in touch with life. And again, they want to hand you that diploma, okay? You guys have graduated. You did an awesome job. Awesome, awesome job. I want to thank you so much for coming to this reading. I look forward to seeing you all for next week's Pick a Card. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you enjoyed about the reading, what line of work you guys are in or wanting to be in. I would love to know. And I will see you later and let you go. Love you guys. Hey Pile 3, welcome to your reading. I can't wait to learn a little bit more about the progress and the evolution that you all have been making, and in what ways Spirit wants to applaud you, congratulate you, and encourage you to keep moving forward. So let's find out what progress you all have made. I want to look first at the card topper you all gravitated towards. This is Celestite. Isn't that beautiful? Almost looks like a geode, like you crack it open and it's got the crystals in it. Okay, who needs it? Anyone brazenly ignoring the consistent inner voice that actually has some good ideas for how you might better handle this whole life thing. When to use it? When it's time to stop and really listen. With Celestite as a guide, you might be surprised what you hear. And on the bottom, the little phrase says, tune into your serenity. Wow. So I feel like you guys have really been getting in touch with your gut instinct, with your intuition. You've been studying, what is our intuition? How can we listen to it better? And I also just feel complete silence all around you. It feels like you guys are looking for the silence, actually seeking it out. Some of you may even have like those noise canceling headphones that you bought for yourself recently to use at work or otherwise. I also see you guys being in the car, and instead of putting YouTube or music on your phone or turning on the radio, you're actually like, maybe I'll just drive in silence today. See if I can talk to my intuition or just enjoy the peace and quiet. So yeah, I'm seeing just a lot less noise around you at home. TV is not on as often. Maybe even meditating. Some of you might be enjoying meditation, nap time, or even, I feel like some of you have even moved recently from a really busy, hectic sort of area to somewhere quiet, out in nature. Maybe some of you have planned some trips where you can get away, go to a cabin, or just someplace that's just quiet. And I also see a lot of you have transitioned out of party life into a life with more solitude. You guys some of you may be at that age where that transition kind of naturally happens. It's like clubbing and bar hopping, and now it's like, no, actually I want to stay at home with my cat this weekend. It just kind of naturally happens for some of us. But Spirit's really proud of you for this, and they also want you to know how brave it is, how courageous it is to be willing to sit in silence. Because it's only when we are in silence that our brain is no longer distracted and our subconscious and our intuition can speak to us. And of course, if there's anything that hasn't been healed or dealt with, fears, worries, anxieties, negative thoughts, they're the loudest when we are in silence. And you guys were not afraid to step into that and see what would come up, clear and heal away whatever needed to be healed, and get in touch with your own inner world. Whereas before, it may have been, oh, I'm bored, let me put this on my phone. Oh, I'm bored, let me listen to this. Oh, I'm not in a good mood, let me watch my favorite TV show. Let me call this person. It was like you were always trying to keep this hectic, chaotic energy in your head going so that your brain was distracted. Maybe it was just a form of entertainment, but it's like you've now stepped into this place of inner peace, inner wisdom, silence and solitude. It just feels really, really nice to be around. I'm hearing like, you can actually hear nature around you, the little birds, the wind as it blows through, the rustling of the leaves, the dogs barking outside. Whereas before that was all drowned out by the music, by the people, by, the TV. So Spirit's really, really happy that you've done this for yourself. Because that's difficult to do. Like, a lot of us get addicted to that sort of thing, that sort of constant entertainment going on for our eyes to soak in or our brain to soak in, that distraction. It's hard to pull the plug on that. So, okay, let's roll the die and then we'll look at the tarot cards and the oracles. All right, we have Saturn in Libra in the 8th house. Interesting. Okay, so Saturn is this planet of earthly maturity. Saturn gives us a reality check. Saturn is that planet that, like, sometimes our expectations for ourselves are too high, or the dreams that we have are overblown or out of proportion with reality. And Saturn's kind of this elderly, wise, fatherly figure that comes in to give us a reality check. Like, that's a really nice thought, but you're not being realistic enough with it. Let me help you get practical with this. So Saturn can feel frustrating when he's strongly influencing our life, which is definitely during like Saturn return. Some of you guys could be between the ages of 27 to 30, and you guys have just had your Saturn return. Some of you could just have finished your Saturn square, so between the ages of 21 to 23. But yeah, it can feel really, sometimes Saturn can make us feel like just defeated. Like, well, I tried every single route and you blocked off all of them. So, where am I supposed to go? But ultimately, Saturn teaches us maturity and wisdom, practicality, how to be grounded in reality. So Spirit's wanting to congratulate you guys for really getting grounded the past few years. Whereas before, it kind of felt like your head, your thoughts, your ideas, they were all distracted, floating off into space, wrapped up in this sort of chaotic energy. Now they're very, very grounded. Some of you have recently gotten into plants, gardening, filled your house with different plants, or even animals, gotten a pet recently. And those are things that all ground us because they connect us to the earth and earth energy, which is very quiet, which is peaceful, which is nourishing. And so I feel like you guys have recently gotten into those sorts of things. Some of you actually may have gotten into like fishing, camping, things like more out in nature that are more grounded with the earthly realm. Now, with Saturn being in Libra in the 8th house, I feel like there's been a huge transformation for you guys in terms of your relationships. The 8th house is about death and transformation, but it's also about our deepest, most intimate relationships. And Libra rules the 7th house of marriage, of compromise, of a balance between what I want and need and what this other person wants and needs. So I feel like you guys have this maturity, this wisdom that you've gained has allowed you to grow and sustain healthier relationships, romantically especially, but also in friendships, with family. Whereas before I'm seeing this Aries energy, which is very fiery, and Aries is very much focused on the self. And there's moments in our life when we all need to be in that Aries energy. But it almost feels like the Aries energy was overtaking your 7th and 8th houses in your natal chart, which is the house of marriage and of intimacy. And that can become really toxic because if we can't get ourselves into the other person's shoes, if we aren't willing to do a real balanced give and take with another person, and if they aren't willing to do that for us, well, it's not going to be a successful relationship. But somehow you guys have gotten real smart about compromise, empathizing, not just looking at something from your own point of view, but taking in everyone's point of view. And you've also gotten really good about being more practical about what you're asking for in a romantic relationship and what type of people are meant to be in your life and not. I feel like some of you have gone through a pretty icky breakup the past couple of years. And it was with someone who there were clear red flags, there were clear signs that this wasn't going to work out. Maybe you guys' value systems were off. Maybe this person basically said, no, I'm not looking for anything serious. Or maybe they were at a stage in their life where they couldn't give that. Like there were things that you knew on a deeper gut instinct level, which remember, this is what you're getting in touch with, your intuition. But you decided to gloss over it. Or no, I could change that. Or no, that won't be an issue. Okay, you didn't have a grip on reality, whereas Saturn came in to show you, let me give you a reality check. And that was really hard, and Spirit's wanting to let you know that they empathize with you in terms of how hard that was for you to go through, for you to heal from, and the insight that you received. That was a lot of work, okay? But they're extremely proud of you. Like you learned everything you were meant to learn through that. You evolved, matured, made all the changes that you were meant to during that period. Saturn is ultimately a gift in our lives. We come out of our Saturn period stronger, wiser, more matured. Saturn ages us like a fine wine, and you guys did awesome on that part of your life. And your next relationship, because it will be grounded in reality, because you do now understand the Libra energy versus the Aries energy, and you no longer have an issue rejecting something if you see that, like, oh, I'm not going to, this person has a really bad dating history, or this person has a history of cheating, or this person doesn't really have the same values as me, or this person isn't wanting anything serious, or this person lives in a state that I never want to live in, and whatever it is, you're no longer going to be glossing over that stuff, looking at it through rose-colored glasses. You're going to be very practical about it. And like, I'm sorry, but I don't want to go deeper into this because, X, Y, and Z. And that's fantastic. That's great for you guys. A lot of it does come with listening to your gut instinct as well. Because a lot of times in your past, not anymore again, because this is what Spirit's wanting to applaud you for changing. But in your past, maybe there wasn't actual red flags, like logical or written proof or video proof or whatever, that something was off or that something wouldn't work out, but your intuition knew, your gut instinct knew. But because you weren't listening to your intuition, you didn't trust it, you didn't believe it, you're like, no, that's just silly. I'll just push that to the side, and once I have proof of something, then I'll listen. Now, after this experience, whatever it was, you're like, that thing I was feeling all along, that was my intuition. Well, damn, if I would have listened to that early on, I wouldn't have ended up here. So, I'm going to see how I can develop this. I'm going to see how I can grow this intuition to be a bit deeper. I want to make sure I'm really tapped into it next time. And you guys are. You have gotten tapped into your intuition. You're no longer making yourself feel guilty or crazy because you feel something inside. And yeah, there's no logical proof, but you feel it. Like now you're listening. Now, whenever you guys are, let's say you're walking down the street to go somewhere, and you're supposed to turn left at this street, but something inside is like, I feel like I shouldn't turn at this street. Maybe I'll take another route. Whereas before, you would have been like, no, I'm supposed to turn at this street. I'm going to turn at this street. Before, you would have turned and then something bad would have happened. Maybe there was a piece of glass that popped the tire in your car. Maybe someone came and mugged you. Maybe there was a car accident, whatever. Now, it's like whenever you have that gut instinct that's like, I know I'm supposed to turn here, but something's telling me not to, you actually don't turn. And you're like, okay, for whatever reason, I'm never going to know why, but I'm not supposed to turn. I'm going to go around and go this way. And it's really changing your life, to be honest. The fact that it's taught you trust. I think that you guys had trust issues before that have now been healed, that you're moving past. Because as you learn that you are capable of trusting yourself, it eliminates the distrust that you have with others. Because now you know that you can trust you to take care of you, that you can listen to yourself to guide you, keep you out of harm's way. So no need to worry about other people. I can trust myself to guide me. And now I know that I'm picking the appropriate people and people that I actually can trust because I'm listening to myself. So I see you just surrounded with this trusting energy, trusting of yourself and trusting of the people that you have handpicked to allow into your life, which is absolutely incredible. Okay, let's get into the tarot. All right, we have 5 of Wands, Queen of Wands. All right, you guys could be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Don't have to be. Wow, 2 of Wands. Okay, we've got a lot of Wands. Okay, and then 3 of Cups at the very end, but all Wands. So this is a lot of fire energy. Aries, Leo, Sag, and then the 3 of Cups at the end here. All right. Okay, yeah. So this card here is a card of inner conflict, outer conflict. This is a conflict between egos. Each ego here wants to win the battle, wants to get their point across, isn't willing to compromise, isn't willing to listen to other people's point of view. No, this is my truth. I don't want to listen to your truth. This is my truth. You have to accept this. And I feel like you guys were operating in this energy. But thank God you guys are out of it, because that was exhausting you. That was making you feel hurt, making you feel overlooked, wounding you, being in this energy. But now that you've balanced that Aries energy with more this Libra, this sort of, okay, let me compromise. Let me wait my turn, or let me let me make sure I'm with people who do that for me. Like, I want to be in equally balanced relationships, not ones where we're all fighting for first place, and so now you're this Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands is, first of all, this black cat that's on the Queen of Wands card represents the Queen of Wands intuition. That's what the black cat stands for. So she has a very strong intuition, on point. She listens to her cat when it is trying to guide her somewhere or say something to her. But Queen of Wands is also extremely social. She is a great storyteller, an amazing entertainer. She's very social. And you know what? People who are very social trust other people. They enjoy being surrounded by people because they choose the right people to trust, to give love to, and they enjoy being around them. She's a socialite. She likes to have fun. She likes to express joy. She likes to make people laugh. And this is the energy that you guys have stepped into. But it's interesting because you've only been able to successfully do this through your own time of solitude, which is what that initial card topper you all chose, talks about. You guys really went within. I think maybe something outside of you forced you to kind of feel alone, maybe a move far away from home, maybe a breakup. I don't know what it was, but something really forced you into silence. But Spirit's saying you even went a couple steps further than you needed to. You really, really started valuing silence and an ability to tap into your own intuition. And tapping into that has allowed you to start making solid, practical, grounded plans for your future, which is what this man in this card is doing. This man's not yet taking action on anything. He is all alone, in silence, in solitude, but he's got the world in his hands, and he's looking across at the horizon with the world in his hands and thinking, what is it that I want to accomplish? What is it that's really connected to me? Who do I want to be in 10, 20 years? Where do I want to go? What does my bucket list look like? And you know what? He couldn't do that if he was bombarded by other people. He couldn't do that if he was staring at his phone, watching TikToks. He couldn't do that if he was binging, a Netflix series. So you have consciously taken time out of your day to do these things. I think some of you have gotten a journal or started making little lists, started looking into places you plan to live, what college you want to go to, what degrees, taking personality tests. Like, you've really gone in so that you can start making these plans and figuring out what you want your life to look like. The other great thing about this card is it's a 2, and 2 is all about balance. So you're finally balancing out this practical side with this dreamy side. It's like you want to find a way to make your passions a reality. So not just do something because practically it makes sense, like, oh, this is affordable, or this will generate a lot of money. That's the practical Saturn stuff. But you're combining that with, this is also something I'm talented at. This is also something I really like doing. I think I would enjoy. And it's helping you to craft the right plans and things for yourself. And then the 3 of Cups. This is a card of celebration, of friendship. You have a lot of cards here about happiness and joy. I feel like for some of you, there are 2 specific people in your life at this time. Whereas before, I feel like your network circle, your friendship group, almost felt a little too big, to be honest. And it could have been because of the age you were at, where there's like 50, 60 people that you kind of kept up with. It now feels like it's dwindled down because you just don't want all the chaos. You want the relationships that really matter and that really serve you. So I feel like there's 2 or 3 people in your life that you really cling to, that really nurture you, that you really have a blast with. It even feels like the gatherings and things that you go to now, where they used to be maybe 20 people and everyone's stuffed into 3 different cars. Now it's always like these small, sort of at home with a few friends or with a few family members. I think some of you have a couple of sisters too, or a mom and a sister that you're really close with or have started developing a really close relationship with. And that's meant the world to Spirit. Spirit does want to talk to you about that for a bit, especially in regards to mom. Because I don't know if this is something, I don't know if mom has voiced this to you or not, but there's been a shift in the way that you treat your mom, in the way that you speak to her, and even in old memories you have with mom. It's almost like you grabbed a different pair of glasses and put those on, and then either realize that, like, oh my gosh, I was wearing the wrong pair of glasses the whole time. That's why when I thought back on this memory, it looked like this. Or that's why my mom looked like this in my eyes. I wasn't using the right glasses. So it's either something like that, or it's something like you put on a new filter. You've recognized that, a picture can change, the emotions of the picture can change, the beauty of the picture can change, the ugliness can as well, depending on what filter you place on it. And it's like you realize that, you know what? I actually have the power to choose the filter on that photo, on that memory, that photo. So you know what? Instead of using this ugly, depressing filter for it, I'm going to put a filter that's going to enhance it. I'm going to start focusing on the beauty in that memory. I'm going to start focusing on what I learned, on the empathy that I can express. There's been a huge shift in the way that you view your mother, respect your mother, speak to your mother, and Spirit is so, so proud of you for that. And they're saying, let them know that that is true maturity right there. Like, you guys have really reached peak maturity in your life at this time because of these changes. You have a more generous heart about you now, which is also what the Queen of Wands represents. I'm just feeling this generosity just seeping off of you, this sort of warmth, this ability to trust, to relax, to just be, to also focus more on the positives instead of the negatives, and to no longer need to distract yourself constantly, but to focus on the things that really matter, to invest in your plans for the future. Okay, let's look at the oracles. Oh, speaking of mothers, look what we got right there, mother and baby. Wow, and the cat too, another cat. Oh, wow. And then we have this businesswoman on the ice. It's interesting because, yeah, these women actually look the same, but she just has a haircut, right? Longer hair here, but the features look very similar. Interesting. Okay, So we have a living in society card. It says every phase in life brings its own unique joy and sense of purpose. And then we have healing sadness. I now effectively communicate the clarity in my mind to everyone around me. Beautiful. And then here's what you have successfully surrendered over the past few months in your life. You have surrendered worry, and you've surrendered to play. That's a very Queen of Wands. Okay, so I feel like there's been a shift here. A lot of this time in silence and solitude, some of you actually could have recently given birth, and literally the baby put you in this place of focus in the silence and peacefulness and quiet, no longer being able to distract your mind. For others of you, like I spoke about, it could have been a breakup, a divorce. It could have been, this whole COVID the past year, maybe a layoff that stuck you at home without work for several months. Something really pushed you guys into silence, but it helped you to focus on, I don't even know if you've realized this, maybe that's why Spirit wants to bring it up, but you've really healed a lot of your own inner child through whatever you've been reading, filtering through, working on the past few months. There's been a healing of your own inner child. And maybe that is what has healed the relationship with mom in a sense. There's been this, look at the difference in these women. One is very cold, the other is very nurturing, okay? I even feel like for some of you, your perception of your mom was this, but now you've kind of shifted it to this sort of filter. Or not this sort of filter, but you're no longer exaggerating the negative qualities. Now, I do have to say, I don't feel like your mom's a real emotional person or known for that, but I do feel that your mom is a nurturing person. I feel that she was very nurturing to you as a child or as a baby, as an infant, and maybe things got harsh and tough as you moved through the teenage years, as it is with every parent. But it feels like there was almost this blown out of proportion or exaggerated view of her negative qualities in your head for a long time. And it's like you realized that, you know what, it's not serving me. When I view her that way, it just ticks me off. It just makes me angry. It just upsets me. It bombards my mind with all these things I don't want to think or feel. So I'm going to try and approach her with a more balanced view. I'm going to try and focus on what I can appreciate about her. I'm going to compliment her a little bit more. Like, I feel like you've really made the effort to do those things, and Spirit wants you to know how much of a difference it's made. But by being able to do that for your mom, which I feel like was a huge hurdle for you to get over, you know what you also changed? Your view of yourself. Because if we are accustomed to viewing others in a harsh or exaggerated way, or a very black and white sort of way, it's not like we can just turn that off when it comes to how we feel about ourselves. We don't. It carries over. So I feel like this sort of harsh, exaggerated, polarized view that you used to have on things or with people that you've now healed has healed a lot within you. You're now able to look at yourself in a more balanced way, and not in a black and white, but a more nuanced, a gray, variations. You've been able to nurture yourself a little bit better, show love for yourself, and not be so cold and distant towards yourself or harsh like I feel you used to be. And you know what? If I was real harsh and cold towards myself, I'd want to keep my mind distracted all the time too, with a beer and a cigarette, or with the internet, or with food, or at parties, right? Because I don't want to be in silence, because then I'm just going to have to hear myself being mean and cold and harsh. So that has really been what's allowed you to go into this more peaceful attitude in your life, being able to just chill in peace and quiet for a bit. It's because you've turned off that harsh, cold, exaggerated aspect of yourself. You've healed it, you've moved past it, it's done. And it's going to heal all of your relationships, but I feel like it started with mom. Okay, so every phase in life brings new joy. Yeah, I feel like that's what you pulled out of this situation. Something forced you into silence, or somehow was a catalyst into a quieter period for you, whether it was, a new baby being brought home, or a breakup, or moving somewhere, or getting laid off. But you've been able to really, instead of just looking at that through a negative lens, you have been messing with the filters on your life and realizing that you have the ability to choose what filter you're going to look at this through. So whatever this situation was, where some people could have gotten real bogged down in sadness or depression, anxiety, you were consciously able to say, you know what, I'm going to pick this rosy colored filter or the sepia filter or whatever, and I'm going to appreciate this phase of my life for what it is and what sort of purpose it has for me. And then we have the effectively communicating card, communicating the clarity in your mind to everyone around me. Now, the opposite, what this used to be was, even if I speak my mind, it never changes anything. So why bother? Yeah. So I feel like you guys have recently been able to see that other people do listen to you. I feel like you guys really didn't give yourself enough credit for a long time, or you felt like you had to kind of embody this sort of seriousness to be taken seriously. And now you're kind of recognizing that, you know what, I don't have to earn my right to communicate, to speak my mind. I don't have to prove anything to anyone. I'm just going to say what I want to say. And I'm also going to give people credit where it's due. I'm not going to let myself believe that everything's as horribly exaggerated as it is. You guys have moved past this. You have a more practical, grounded way of viewing your life, of viewing the people around you. And look, I mean, how beautiful. You've replaced the worry that you were going through for so many years. You've replaced it with play. Now, talk about inner child healing, right? It's like you're now consciously able to recognize when your inner child is getting anxious or stressed and say, okay, inner child, let's go take some playtime. I'm going to buy a puzzle. Let's do a puzzle together. Or let's take a walk down to the park. Or you're really nurturing that inner child so that the worry, the anxiety, the harshness doesn't take over. This is amazing, you guys. I want to congratulate you too for all of this progress. I feel like I spoke about so many facets of life in this pile versus the other piles, which really honed in on one specific area. This covers all of it. This is a huge amount of maturing that you guys have gone through. So I hope you were able to pat yourself on the back. I feel like you guys are. You guys are the Queen of Wands. She very easily pats herself on the back, gives herself credit where it's due. You guys are in a really healthy space in your life. It's been through your own hard work and achievement. So congratulations. I want to thank you for coming to this reading. I really enjoyed doing this with you, getting a chance to connect with you. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up or a comment down below if you all want to communicate down there with me. I always respond. And I look forward to seeing you for next week's Pick a Card reading. Love you guys. Bye. Hey Pile 4, welcome to your reading. Can't wait to see what progress you have made, what Spirit wants to congratulate you for. Let's take a look at the card topper you all gravitated towards. This rock, I have it. This is called, I'm trying to read the back, Astrophyllite. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Correct me down in the comments below if you know how to say it. So it says, who needs it? Anyone with a permission slip for an intergalactic field trip. When to use it? When it's time to step outside of yourself, like way outside. Call on the energy of Astrophyllite to electrify you with superhero purpose so you can take flight. And at the bottom phrase on the card says, unlock your highest potential. Wow. So I feel like for those of you who are a bit younger watching this, I feel like your grades have gone up quite a bit, like this last semester, last school year. Maybe you all finished graduating with your degree on a major high note. You've really pushed yourself. For some of you, you are taking a deep dive into astrology, really studying maybe Vedic or tropical astrology, and maybe wanting to become astrologers yourself. And for others of you, there's some sort of worldly or political cause that you're really getting inspired by and wanting to do some groundwork in. So yeah, you guys are really pushing you're pushing yourself. You're trying to see how far past your own limits you're able to go to really accomplish things. You're proving yourself wrong in a lot of ways. A lot of ideas that you've held about yourself for a long time, you're finally like, it's kind of like, you know how we try something as a kid, like say we try broccoli as a kid and we're like, ugh, disgusting. Okay, I'm not a broccoli person. So then we just never try broccoli. It's always good, especially once we become an adult or once every few years, right? To like retry it, just see, because sometimes the taste buds change. We evolve as people. So I feel like there's some things about yourself that you've accepted, like, oh, well, I'm just this type of person. But it feels like recently you're like, maybe it's time to retry these things and see if they do still define me. See if maybe I like these things now. Maybe I'm good at these things now. So you're retesting some things. Some of you are saying yes to a lot of things that you used to say no to. whether that be, you know, a roller coaster ride, because you're not a person that likes roller coasters. Well, I'm going to try it again. Or a certain sport, you know, no, I'm not good at sports. Okay, fine, I'll go out there and play volleyball. It could even be foods, but it's also like maybe you've always, you know, felt that, oh, I'm just an average student. I'm just an average worker. You know, I'm never above average in anything. And you've resigned yourself to that for so long, but this past year recently, you're like, I'm going to retest that theory. I'm going to see if maybe I'm an above average student. You know, it's like you're retesting things. You were being bold enough to retry some things and obtain a new definition of yourself. Your likes, your dislikes, what's possible for you, what isn't. And it turns out that a lot of things that you had set up limits for yourself on, you're like, I tried that when I was this age, it didn't work, so that's not my thing. You've actually pushed those boundaries out further. You've shown yourself that you've evolved enough to where, nope, actually this goes out further. Actually, this no longer defines me, it's out here. So I think that's really, really fantastic. Your energy feels adventurous at this time. Your brain feels really stimulated. You feel very open to accept different opportunities, different challenges. I feel like some of you have signed up for like a 5K or done a 5K recently when you used to never like running or think that was something you would never do or something of that equivalent. Yeah, you're kind of pushing the limits of your body, your mind, your consciousness, all of it during this time, which I think is, yeah, really, really cool. Okay, let's look at the die, and then we'll look at the tarot and then the oracles. All right, we have the sun in Leo in the second house. Okay, that's funny because my sun is in Leo in the second house. So I'm going to try not to let that throw me off. Okay, so the sun in Leo, that's its comfort zone. The sun rules Leo. That's where it wants to be. The sun is all about our ego, the healthy version of our ego, of course. It's where we shine. It is where we get our confidence. It's what we get noticed for. And Leo's the same thing. Leo's all about the inner child. The inner child is curious. It wants to play. It wants to try out this. It wants to do that. It wants to perform. It wants to showcase for people what it's good at, make people laugh, sing for others, you know, like put itself on display. And the second house is all about our self-worth, our net worth, our voice, our money, our possessions. There may have been another pile you all were drawn to. Go back and listen to it after this one if you were, because there's a similar energy here as there was with another pile. But yeah, so the second house is also about our skills, our talents, and our assets. So I feel like your ego is no longer as fragile as it used to be. And because it's no longer fragile, you now have the energy, the confidence to try out things, develop new skills, develop new talents. And I also feel like it's no longer as fragile because you're no longer accepting these negative things about yourself. I feel like there were things that you felt about yourself for a long time that really weighed you down. I think some of you felt like, you know, maybe I think I'm a selfish person. I'm a bad person. I'm a weak person. I'm a narcissistic person. I'm a mean person. And it's like you've accepted this as part of you because maybe there was behavior in childhood, in your teenage years, in your early adult years that, you know, showed that that was a pattern of behavior. But guess what? You realize that already, and you've worked to improve that and to move past it. So it wouldn't make sense to let that still be something that defines you, to still keep claiming that as part of you. No, you're no longer narcissistic, selfish, egotistical, whatever it is, you were weak, whatever it is you were deciding to like, oh, this is a definition of me. And I think for a lot of you, you felt like this showed self-awareness to others. Like, look, I just want you to know that I'm aware that I am a bad person with bad tendencies, right? So it started off from a good place. You wanted to look your negative tendencies in the face, to be self-aware of them, to no longer be in denial about them, but you've healed them. You've moved past them. So I feel like over the past few months, you finally liberated yourself of these old, outdated beliefs about you. And because you've done that, because those labels don't define you anymore, because you've liberated yourself of that, your ego, your confidence has really received a boost. It's like it can breathe again, it can shine again. And now because it's boosted and shining, it has the ability to go out and try, to tell people, yeah, to highlight your positive qualities instead of your negative ones. To feel comfortable saying, yeah, I'm actually really skilled and talented at X, Y, and Z, at blah, 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 to perform for people, whatever it is. I think this is really, really great. It kind of reminds me of, there was an old movie that Jim Carrey was in, not real old. I think it was like mid 2000s or 2010s. and I think it was called Yes Man, but it was basically Jim Carrey's character decides that, I think for like a week or something, I don't know, that he's going to say yes to everything that's asked of him to force himself out of his comfort zone. It feels like that's the phase that you guys are in. You're like, I'm just going to try it out. I'm going to say yes to everything. I'm just going to do it all. And this is great because before you guys were in a space of really, I don't know, you just had this negative view of yourself. You really felt like, I'm not talking about physically, this feels more of like internally or personality wise, you felt like you were a bad person, that you were constantly having to fight against this bad person within, and had to try so hard to be good. But you know what? That's washed away. It's like you guys have been born anew. It's washed away. You've matured. You've evolved past that. Okay. You are a good person. And I'm so happy that you're finally claiming this again. Okay. You know now that you're good because your actions prove that you are. And that's it. Okay. So I'm happy for you guys that you're finally able to say that about yourself, to think in your own head, to know, to realize, you know what? I am a good person. You know what? I'm not narcissistic. Maybe I used to be, but I'm not now. I've worked on it and I'm not. And you guys have every right to claim that for yourself. It's true. You are good people. Let yourself shine and be happy. You know, get back to the inner child. Don't let that adult or that psychologist that's in your head that wants to overanalyze things pull you down. But I see that you guys aren't doing that. This is all stuff that's been healed, that's been worked past, that Spirit wants to applaud you for. So let's look at the tarot cards. All right, we have 7 of Pentacles, 4 of Wands, fantastic card. Ooh, Ace of Pentacles. Ooh, and the Empress. This is Venus energy. So I feel like some of you have Venus in your first house, like I do. But others of you could have Taurus or Libra strongly in your chart, maybe Taurus or Libra moon. Taurus rules the second house, which is also here. So we have a lot of Taurus, Leo, Libra vibes coming off of the cards. Okay, so yeah, oh, this is interesting. So the fact that you have healed your own inner worth recently, that you're no longer claiming these limits on yourself or these negative things about yourself, it's actually now showing in your outer world through your actual net worth. The higher our self-worth is, the higher our net worth becomes. It's like correlated. So I do see it actually affecting money, finances. I feel like there's something that you've been really putting a lot of time and effort into and waiting to receive the benefits for it. And Spirit wants to let you know that they appreciate how tediously you've worked on this. I feel like it's like a business idea, a degree, some course of study. But it's interesting because one good thing they do want to say is that when your ego was kind of going through this rebirth phase where it felt really diminished, really bruised, really weakened, that did help you with this phase here, which was kind of about kind of planting and nurturing and growing these things. There was something you really put a lot of time into studying. And because your ego was so weak and small at that time, you kind of convinced yourself that, no, I need to, before I take action on this, I need to learn more. And I can't take action yet because I need to learn more. And no, I don't want to come out and speak about this yet because I need to learn more because I don't want to be a know-it-all before I've soaked up all of it. So it did help you through that phase because I do see that you gathered a heck of a lot of knowledge or expertise in whatever this business idea or course of study or whatever it was. It's like you really poured your all into this and you are very quickly about to pluck this off the tree. So money is coming your way and Spirit wants you to know, for future reference is what they're saying, that this, being able to receive this money or to get this debt paid off or whatever is directly related to the fact that you have healed your son, that you have pushed yourself past your limits in the ways you define yourself, viewed yourself, that you've healed it, that you're really showing love and an ability to showcase your self-expression. That is why this fruit, these pentacles, finally were able to become ripe so you could pluck them. So they want to congratulate you for this. I also see that some of you have recently moved into like more of either a stay-at-home job or actually maybe left your careers to stay at home as a wife or a parent, but have this sort of hobby thing that you've been working on that maybe you want to pursue as a career at some point or be able to make money off of, like maybe it's a YouTube channel you've started or a book you've started writing, but the primary focus has really been home, family, and they think that that was a really, really great thing for you to do. Like that was an important move actually for you to make. I also feel that because you have cut some strings in terms of the earthly realm, there were some things going on before you made this transition that kind of kept you trapped where you were. So either it was debts, or it was a certain job or career, or whatever. It kept you trapped. Now that you've kind of began planting these other seeds, cutting some ties and strings, it's freed you up for a move. And I feel like some of you recently moved overseas or far away or into a new house or bought a home, something. And I mean, even as I'm saying this, that wouldn't have been possible without these changes that you made. So don't give your partner credit for these changes. Don't give really anyone credit for these changes except for yourself. If it wasn't for you making these changes in your life, that move wouldn't have been possible. So congratulate yourself. Pat yourself on the back for that. Stop giving everyone else credit that's yours. You deserve the credit sometimes too. Now, the Empress, she is all about abundance. She is very confident though. She's Venus. She's all about love, sensuality, beauty. So I feel like you guys have really, of course, confidence I've already touched on. So your inner confidence is really glowing at this time. But even your, I gotta word this, your sex life has also been boosted through this time. You've explored some new areas in terms of your sensuality, your sexuality, that's been extremely important for you. Some of you have also gotten pregnant or are considering bringing new life into the world somehow. And that also, Spirit's also saying, those sort of thoughts come from a place of abundance. That's what pregnancy is. It's a creative process of growth, of nourishment, where your body is literally putting life into another body or thing. And our bodies have to be nourished and well off for us to sustain someone else's life, right? So they're wanting to point out that if you are pregnant, recently gave birth, or are thinking about pregnancy, it is all thanks to the fact that your ego, your own son, your own self-worth has really increased and expanded over this time. And internally, you feel like you now have the ability to support new life because you feel sustained. It's like your cup is overflowing. So that's beautiful. I also feel like Spirit wants to congratulate you on your ability to give affection to yourself and to others. That's greatly increased over the past few years. You now really appreciate a good hug, a good kiss, a hand holding, all of that. And you have been looking for more opportunities where you can give that to others as well, like paying attention to when someone might need a hug or a pat on the back. So your physical affection has increased, and that's brought a lot of happiness and joy into your life, a lot of personal connection that you needed for a long time. And so they want to say that they're proud of you for making those changes, for stepping out of your comfort zone in that area. Because that was something else you had also resigned yourself to not being. Oh, I'm just not a person that's into physical affection. I'm just not needy in that way. I don't really like physical touch. I'm not into hugs. It's like you had decided that a long time ago and then just never retested it. But Spirit has seen that the past few years, you've decided to retest that theory. Why don't I just try it out again? See if I can enjoy it. See if I like physical touch in a bigger way than I thought before. And guess what? You do, because you guys feel Venus dominant. Even Leo, though. Leo is very physically affectionate. It's the warm, generous, lion. So, okay, let's look at the oracles. All right, we've got the Judge. That's Libra energy. We've got the girl kind of stepping out on a limb here, right? Kind of scary. Oh. Then we have the woman in the wheelchair at the hospital. Okay, we have a Healthy Goals card. It says, the only way others can get to know my true self is to talk from my heart. Second card is a Healing Sadness card. It says, in partnership with the universe, I move through my emotional conflicts and find a peaceful resolution. Beautiful. And then here are the things you have successfully surrendered over the past few months, or surrendered to. You have surrendered to your intuition. Fantastic. You have surrendered resentments. And you have surrendered outdated beliefs about yourself. I love it when the cards come together like that. All right. So let's see what I want to touch on first. It's interesting because these cards are also polar opposite energies here. But this Judge, this is kind of how you guys treated yourself for a long time before this transition came over and this transformation. You were really harsh. You did it from a place of I won't say you were harsh, actually. I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say you were judgmental towards yourself. And you did it from a place of, I want to know that I don't want to be one of those idiots that's so not self-aware. Like, I want to be fully self-aware. I want to take in all the data about my actions, about myself. I want to take the test, and I want to accept my faults, okay? So you were very judgy, but you thought you were doing it in a balanced way. It was a logical thing, right? It was from a place of logic. But you forgot to, take into account that once we observe something and become self-aware about something, that's when we now have the ability to change it, to reroute it. And you did that, but it took you a long time to finally give yourself credit for that and to no longer attach those labels to yourself, whatever they were, But now you've been able to release those, to let those go, and to say, yeah, maybe that's who I used to be, but I'm not that way now. So I'm no longer going to keep telling people that this defines me or that I'm X, Y, or Z. And I'm no longer going to allow people to throw that in my face when they're upset about something or mad at me, because that's not who I am anymore. So no, they're not allowed to throw that in my face, to say that I'm selfish or narcissistic or whatever. Okay, so, and then we have the girl kind of stepping out on a limb, which reminds me of your inner child and what we touched on at the beginning with the astrophyllite. It's like you're exploring now. You finally feel like, yeah, I'm not weak, am I? And I'm not this bad person. I'm a good person, and I'm actually really strong. And oh wow, now my mood feels good. Now I want to go out and explore. I want to see what else no longer defines me. I want to try it all out. So you've put yourself out on a limb here. You're taking some risks in your life, which I think is really, really great. For some of you, I feel like you've had some health scares recently, or you've been worried about your health or your future health. Maybe there were things in the family going on. Maybe you're worried about, oh, did I inherit this from this family member? Like, oh, if they got breast cancer, what are the chances that all have breast cancer? And it's interesting because even in the negative things that you attach to your own personality, like being selfish or being weak or whatever it was, you also felt like that was an inherited thing that was outside of your control for a long time. And only recently did you decide that, you know what? No, I'm not going to claim that, I'm no longer going to claim that this is something that I inherited and will just always have and deal with. I've dealt with that. I'm no longer that way. But I feel like even with the physical health stuff too, you did the same thing with. You were always in this paranoia. It's like you didn't define yourself as just you as a person. You defined yourself through what you inherited from each side of your family. Like, oh, well, I'm like this like mom, and I'm like this like dad, and I'm like this like grandma, and I'm like this like grandpa. It's like for you, logically, you must be a combination of all these other people around you. When in reality, you are just you. And it's time to start looking into what that means. If you didn't know any of these people you were related to, how would you define yourself? What would you explore about yourself? And that's what you decided to do. And with the health things as well, I feel like you're no longer resigning to, oh, well, this is genetically inherited, so I probably am going to suffer from this and that, and spiraling about what sort of diseases you might inherit from different family members. You are taking back control of your life. You are taking back a sense of, you know what? I have the ability to change the outcome of my health, of my mental health, of my personality traits, of my behaviors, of my actions. And I'm no longer just going to sit back and accept that I'm a bad person, or that my body's weak, or that I am destined to die young, or, inherit this or that. Yeah, you guys are no longer accepting that. And I think there's even been some things in you guys' natal charts that you've looked at that have freaked you out. Maybe some certain astrological placements that indicate early death, or, I don't know, addiction or something weird. And whereas before you would have been like, well, this is what the natal chart says, so this is it. I'm going to die young. I better start writing out my will or doing this or that. Now you're kind of like, I don't know, you have more power when it comes to how you view it now. Now you're like, well, you know what, that's one definition for it, but that's just one person's definition for it. Or, it's never 100% of the people with this placement that suffer from that, so I'm no longer no, that's not me. I know myself, I know my life, I know my actions, and there's no way that's going to be me. So I really like that about you, how powerful you guys feel at this time. You've let go of resentments. You've surrendered to your intuition. It's like you're completely out of the past. Just like these two cards kind of show. This little girl she's let go of her resentments, right? She's actually moving towards a future. She's stepping on a ledge, putting herself out there into something new. Whereas this woman here, she's got no new experiences to be had. All she can do is live in the past, live in the resentments towards herself. I should have done this for my health. I should have done that. And so I feel like you guys you've shifted, you've taken back control of your life is what it feels like. You've really taken back control of your life, of what defines you, of who you are. You're no longer holding on to anger or shame towards yourself or for others. You are allowing your intuition to guide you, not your anxiety, not your insecurity. And you've surrendered a lot of outdated beliefs about yourself. Okay, let's see what this card used to be. Yeah, the only way others can get to know my true self is if I talk from my heart. Now, Leo actually rules the heart chakra. And where I feel like your heart has clearly gone through a lot of healing over the past few years that Spirit's wanting to applaud you for. Now that it's healed, you're able to speak from it. You're able to communicate from your heart chakra, from a place of love. And it's helping all of your relationships. Conversations now feel productive and useful. There's much less tension, arguments, and fights going on in your life, and it's because you are speaking from your heart. You're allowing people to really see you for you. There's no longer a cage, a scientific-minded, a logical, unemotional cage around your heart. You're letting it be what it is. You're letting people see you for who you really are and not for the labels that define you, not allowing the actions of your parents to define you, the actions of your past to define who you are today. And then we have, I move through my emotional conflicts and find a peaceful resolution. Same thing as this other card. There's much less conflict going on in your life, in your outside world and in your inner world, because instead you're focusing on your joy, on your happiness, which is what the sun is in our chart. You're focusing on increasing your self-worth, your net worth. And really, I feel like there's been not a new identity emerging, okay? It doesn't feel like that. It feels like you are actually discovering what your identity is and has always been. It feels like you have completely distorted your identity for several years up until recently. It's like now you finally feel like you're grounded, like you truly know who you are, what defines you and what doesn't. It feels so rooted, it feels so strengthened, which I think is just fantastic. So best of luck to you guys on the rest of your journey, and as you continue healing your sun, or just enjoying that sun now that it's healed and thriving. You guys are good people, and I'm glad that you are finally accepting that. You're good people. Your past doesn't define who you are today. It defines who you were in the past, right? And I'm so thankful that you guys have finally let go of that, let it be what it was, and moved into your future. So yeah, congratulations. I want to thank you so much for coming to this reading, allowing me to provide it for you. I look forward to seeing you all in next week's Pick a Card. Love you guys. Bye. Hey Pile 5, welcome to your reading. I can't wait to get a deeper understanding of in what ways you have progressed and evolved and how Spirit wants to congratulate you on that progress. Let's start by looking at the card topper you all gravitated towards. This stone is called Jet. Okay, let's see when to use it. Actually, no, who needs it? Empaths and witchy types. When to use it? When asking for guidance from elsewhere. Think seance, guided meditation, hardcore tarot session. Jet can take the edge off of high vibe stones like moldavite and serpentine, and is a wise and old friend to bring as your +1 wherever your triggers are sure to be on the guest list. And it says at the bottom, claim your space. So it feels like you guys have learned how to manage your triggers, or to not give in to your triggers, or to not put yourself around people, places, and things that trigger you. I feel like a lot of you have cleansed your social media or completely deleted certain social media apps, maybe like Twitter or Facebook or otherwise, because too often there would be posts, comments, and things that were really triggering to you. And it's like you finally realized that, you know what, this is just toxic for me. I'm not really helping anyone or anything by being here. I'm just doing myself harm. And I want to get myself out of this triggering space and into a space that feels more empowering to me and more useful of my time and my energy, which is kind of what empaths have to learn, and what witches already know. Witches are all about empowerment and this belief that they have power over their own little world and universe and can actually exert their influence onto whatever they want, right? So some of you may identify as witches or pagans, or maybe have started getting into that space. And for those of you at this pile, Spirit wants to congratulate you, let you know that they approve of this transition or this journey that you're going on, because one of the most important themes in your life is self-empowerment. What is truly self-empowering? And some people can confuse maybe, I don't know, like a Twitter rant or, you know, some sort of social media activism as something empowering, when for some people it's not. For some people it's a draining and triggering exercise and platform to be on, where you leave yourself open to people who want to say hateful things, or things that will upset you, or things that will diminish you. And some people think, oh no, it's empowering to stay on there, let them say the hateful stuff, and then spend time thinking of a comeback and fight back and show them you won't be defeated. And it's like, sometimes the most empowering thing is to, how about just delete that and just completely get out of that conversation and spend my energy elsewhere. So Spirit's wanting to say, yes, good job. You're now channeling your energy in a more self-empowering way, and your life feels calmer or more contained or more focused than it was before because of these changes that you have made. So let's take a roll of the die, and then we'll look at the tarot and oracle. All right, we have Venus in Gemini in the third house. So Gemini actually rules the third house. Third house is the house of siblings, of short distance trips, of communication, of like high school learning, as well as like, you know, little certificates, learning experiences that don't take like, you know, 5-6 years of effort, more of like, let's look a little bit in this subject, let's get certified in this or that. But it's also about writing, speaking. It's about our neighborhood, our local community, like the people, things, and places that are in our, you know, like a short distance sort of vicinity. And Venus is about our values. It's about our relationships. It's about, what do we love? What gives us pleasure? What do we want to earn? How much do we want to earn? How do we, you know, how do we utilize what we value? How do we show what we value? So I feel like, and Gemini also kind of rules like our perspective on things, or keeping an open mind with things. This reminds me, these die remind me of the energy going on right now in 2021 eclipse season, because the north and south nodes are in Gemini and Sagittarius. Sagittarius feels like it has a handle on the truth, the one and only truth, whereas Gemini is kind of like, well, everyone kind of has a truth, and really nothing is true when you think about it. Everything can kind of change. You can always look at something from a different side. So I feel like you've stepped into a more open mindset, where you've now kind of accepted that, okay, well, this is what, you know, I believe to be true for me, but I also know that other people have other things that feel true to them. So while this feels true to me, I'm not going to claim that it has to be the truth for everyone. I'm just going to let that go and worry about me and my personal relationships, the relationships and things that really truly affect me. And I'm going to distance myself from the things that don't have a direct bearing on me. Kind of like, you know, strangers online, you know, people online, or yeah, I feel like social media has been a big theme for you guys in this transition. What you want to share, how much you want to share, who you want to share your beliefs with, and why. With Venus coming up in the die, it's like you've really taken a good hard look at your value system, what your actions up to this point have shown that you value, and what you want to change that to. How you want your actions to really prove to you that you actually do value self-empowerment, that you actually do value open-mindedness, that you actually do value your money, that you actually do value your time. Do your actions show that you value your time? I feel like you guys have looked at all of this and updated everything, and Spirit's like, yes, good job. Like you feel like you're being more efficient with your time and energy, more effective with it. You have a more relaxed and open mind. And you know what? When our mind is open and relaxed, we're really not triggered very often, you know, because we have a more chill approach to everything. We get triggered usually when we are knee deep into something, when we really are pouring everything into it, when the stakes are really high, and it's like, no, it has to go this way. This has to be agreed upon. You have to believe this. Otherwise, I feel personally attacked. So yeah, this open-mindedness that you've stepped into, has really helped calm you. And Spirit's happy for you and proud of you, because some people go their whole lives never learning how to be a little more open-minded, never learning like that certain things are really draining their time and energy, or never learning that their actions don't reflect what they value, or vice versa. But you guys have done it. It's like you have stepped back, snapped your fingers, and made a switch or several switches in your life to put yourself on a better path for your future. So really, really good job, you guys. Okay, let's look at the tarot cards. All right, we have the Fool. Yep, new path. Freedom. Notice he's not carrying any baggage with him. He's probably got enough to fit maybe a meal in there, but other than that, he's letting all of that crap go. It's all in the past now. He's walking towards his future. We have the Page of Cups, a young energy, the 8 of Pentacles, the 9 of Swords, and the 7 of Cups. Wow, we have a lot of like a large number of cards at the end here. We have an 8, a 9, and a 7. So the Page of Cups is, well, first of all, the Fool is a very open-minded energy, because the Fool's a fool. He doesn't know anything about anything. And on some level, we're all fools. You know, sometimes we can get into a dangerous or negative spot in our lives when we claim to know all, to know everything, to have a handle on the truth, and nothing's going to sway my opinion or change my mind. That's not good, and that's why the Fool is here, to remind us that, you know what, sometimes it's best to just be okay with not ever really having a full grasp on the truth. We can only know what we know right now. Yeah, anyone or anything could change our mind potentially if, you know, they show us the evidence that proves otherwise, or if our experiences change our mind. So I'm going to take on the approach of the Fool and kind of just live my life in the moment, keep an open mind about things, be willing to change my perspective, and just leave all the drama and the negativity just in the past. I want to stop and smell the flowers. I don't want to pick the flower and analyze it and look at it under a microscope. And, you know, while there's a time and a place for that, if I'm going to be a botanist, sure, yeah, I need to look at it under the microscope and analyze the species and the components. But for the majority of my life, I really just want to be able to pick up the flower and sniff it and enjoy it, maybe bring it home and put it in a vase, and that's it. I just want to be a fool, right? So this is the energy you guys have stepped into, which has been so healthy for you guys. Like, it feels like your chest has gotten lighter. The sun's been able to peek through in your life a little bit more. And yeah, you've been able to stop and pick and smell the flowers. The Page of Cups, this is a really young energy. You all could be, well, you've got Gemini, Taurus, and Libra energy, as well as water energy. So you could be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Page of Cups is kind of like the Fool in that it represents a young, naive, curious, open-minded energy. This is a child. It's not like the king or the queen that, you know, is dictating the kingdom. No, it's just a kid. It's still exploring. It's still willing to be surprised by life, to receive new information. And it's a very relaxed sort of creative energy. Our creativity is able to flow better when we're in a more relaxed state. And I feel like some of you are meant to be in a creative field where you are creating products or using your creativity on some level. Singing, dancing, writing, or actually manufacturing something with your hands like this card is doing, maybe jewelry or sewing or painting. I don't know what it is, but it feels like now that you have stepped into this more open-mindedness, your creativity has really started to pour from you. I don't know if you know that that is correlated, but Spirit's wanting you to know that it's because of your efforts in these areas of your life that your creativity is now pouring forth. Some of you actually are supposed to be making things like soaps and lotions, perfumes, herbs, spices. I really see a lot of work with the hands, maybe learning certain instruments, but that's all been tied up or restricted because these younger Gemini curious energies haven't been flowing from you like they are now. I also see with this card that there has been a lot of pain and grieving that you've finally been able to move past in these few months. And I think it's because you're no longer attached to a certain outcome for it, no longer focused on regrets in the past. Like, this sort of energy is kind of like, let it be, you know, it was what it was, let it be, that's life. And you being able to accept that and realize that has allowed the pain to kind of pour forth from you, be released. But like a lot of you have created from your pain. That's been very therapeutic, very healthy for you. Spirit's very proud of you for that. And you guys have also put in a lot of hard work and effort towards your creations, towards your creativity. You're now prioritizing that. You're no longer allowing your creativity to be drained or wasted on like stupid bullcrap like it was before. And you're producing a lot during this time is what I'm seeing. And a lot of it could actually be sold or made money off of. But overall, Spirit's just really proud of the new mindset you've gotten in and that you've really defined your values and made a promise to yourself to live by those values going forward. This is another card that's talking about creativity. Now that your mind's more open, now that you're not restricting yourself, putting yourself in a particular little box of this is the right way and that's the wrong way and this is the truth and this is fake. The creativity's open and all these possibilities have opened for you. It's like your imagination feels alive again. You're finally dreaming again about the possibilities. You're getting excited about all the options you have before you, that you could create this or you could do that or maybe that. But yeah, your imagination feels so good right now. And it's all thanks to these very strategic changes that you've made in your life. Okay, let's look at the oracle cards. Oh wow, look, got the woman reading a book. She's not on her phone, right? It's like she's probably picked up a good science fiction novel or a fiction novel. She's letting the imagination flow. Oh look, we've got the mother bear with her baby cubs. Beautiful. Okay, we have a healthy body card. It says, my relationships are true partnerships. I give as much as I get back. I am able to give birth to my creativity in a way in which I get a healthy level of recognition and compensation. Yes, I love that. Okay, then we have through passion and compassion, all my relationships are truly mutual. This is a healing anger card. We all share a balance of power and vulnerability. And before, the phrase operating in your head was that if I don't have the upper hand in a relationship, I can get hurt. So yeah, again, I keep getting pulled back to social media, but for others of you, it could be about something more than that, but maybe this is the allegory they're wanting to give me. You know, in social media, we can, if we're not careful, we can open ourselves to a lot of trolls. You know, I remember when I used to have a Facebook, which I don't anymore, but I was friends with so many people, and most of them were not people involved in my day-to-day life. It would be like old people I used to work with, people I went to high school with that I literally haven't seen or spoken to in years, people I went to church with, or people that I went to college with. Very few of, or even like distant relatives that really I have no connection to. But yet I was, and then so I would post something maybe, and then I'd have like maybe it was a political post, you know, my political ideas. Then I'd have all these people, you know, who were on the opposite side of the political spectrum that were getting triggered or writing hateful responses. Or I'd post a picture and I'd wonder like how many people are going to like it. Or, you know, it's like it can really affect your mood, what people say, how people interact with you. And really, we shouldn't be letting people who we truly have no connection to, people who truly don't matter in our day-to-day lives, to have that sort of effect. So that's why I kind of pulled back from Facebook, because I thought, you know what? The people who I talk to daily, the people who I see regularly, those are the people whose opinion I want on my life. You know, those are the people that I want to know if they're approving of what I'm doing or not. So it feels like for you, there were a lot of relationships previously, it could have just been through online, where it's like these people who really didn't matter when it came to your day-to-day life, that you really didn't have a relationship with, were having such a huge effect on you. And so you kind of recognize that, you know what, this is way out of balance. This is not a mutual relationship. This isn't a mutual give and take. Why do I keep accepting this? Like, why am I putting myself here? And you finally pulled yourself out of it. And it healed a lot of inner anger that you had going on with you because you weren't being triggered as often. So the anger kind of dissipated and you were able to step into your creativity, get back in touch with Mother Earth, get grounded once again, kind of like the mother bear with her two baby cubs under the stars. It's like no more of this. I feel like a lot of you stepped away from technology because even here, this woman's reading a book. She's not on a phone. She's not watching TV. It's like you're getting more in touch with the tangible things around you, the books, the fabrics, the scents, the smells, the plants, the animals. And it's been so healing for you. And Spirit's really proud of you. I also feel that, this is going to sound really random, but for a lot of you that came to this pile, in your past life or in one of your past lives, you were in some sort of native, aboriginal, Indian tribe. You were part of some sort of community that was a tribalistic community. It was very connected to the earth, wasn't attached to technology, like worshiped the moon and the sun, you know, danced for the rain to come, hunted, fished, that sort of thing, in a really small tribe. And that really, you felt really connected and rooted in that tribe. And I think it's been a bit of a shock for you in this lifetime because the world's gotten so big so fast. It's been kind of overwhelming for you. So Spirit's happy to see you getting back to your roots. You are meant to be a part of more of like a smaller, close-knit tribe, to be more connected to the earth, more connected to the stars, the moon, the plants, the animals, and to the tangible things around you. Technology really doesn't, of course, technology is useful. I'm not saying get rid of technology. Of course, it's useful. Like we need our GPS, we need Amazon or whatever. But the more technology you can take out of your life, it's like the healthier that is for your energy, because you still will feel very connected to this past life as an Indian or a Native American or South American, or maybe you're part of an African tribe, but something that was like a really small tribe, very rooted, very grounded, where there was always trust. Like the relationships were always very equal because it was like just a little family, right? And that's been shocking for you in the modern world, that there can be so many hateful people, so many callous people, so many relationships that are so unbalanced where people just want to take, and how draining technology can be on the mind and the body. So spirits, like, yes, you need to own that more animalistic part of yourself, that part of you that's more connected to Mother Earth, more connected to your creativity, your imagination. Yes, like they're very proud of you. They are happy for you. They love to see you thriving the way that you've been thriving, your energy, your emotions. Like you guys are doing so good. I'm so proud of you. Okay, let's look at what you guys have surrendered successfully. You have surrendered your fear of intimacy, as well as you have surrendered to inner peace. You guys have found out what agitates you, what irritates you, and you've cut it out of your life. And the fact that you recognize now that, like, okay, I know I can't trust everyone, but I need to find my tribe. I need to find the people that I can trust and can be intimate with. It's allowed you to release this fear because you're no longer judging individuals on the basis of like an entire worldview. You know, you're able to see now and separate that, okay, some people shouldn't be trusted, but some people are worthy of my trust. And I want to find those people that I can share myself with. It kind of reminds me of the film Luca. It's a Pixar movie that just came out. I think it's on Disney Plus. Yeah, it is. But I would recommend you guys watching that because a big theme in that movie is talking about like just finding the people who do accept you for who you are. So you're not constantly in this game of like hiding this from that person or getting triggered when this person says that or isn't accepting of this or that. Like just putting yourself around the people that you can really be intimate with. But I see that you guys are successfully doing that. Keep reading, keep doing those little art projects, keep finding those interesting recipes to bake, keep growing the garden, taking care of the plants. Like you guys are like little nature children, just beautiful. I even feel a connection with some of you to fairies, okay? So fairies, Indians or more native sort of tribes, and just the earth in general. So yeah, Spirit's really, really proud of you. They love seeing their little nature baby live their life in a way that's more natural to them. That's exactly what you are doing. They're really proud of you. And I just see a lot of smiling faces from your spiritual team because they feel like you're finally in your true element. This is your true element. Not needing to try and fit into modern society so much, but fitting more into the earth and the natural you. Some of you may even be wearing less makeup, not dyeing your hair as often, not, you know, and that's fantastic. Whatever brings you to a place of inner peace is what's important. And I'm glad that you guys have seen that and Spirit is proud of you. So I'm really happy for you. I want to thank you for coming to this reading and I look forward to seeing you at next week's Pick a Card reading. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button before you guys go. It means so much to me. I love you and I will see you next week. Hey Pile 6, welcome to your reading. You guys are my final pile, and you'll notice that the sun has set behind me. We started out well. I started out with the sun, but I'm just gonna have to start doing morning readings, aren't I? Anyways, I'm excited to see what sort of progress you guys have made, what Spirit wants to congratulate you on. Let's see what you're doing right, what you have done right over the past few months, because you deserve to give yourself a pat on the back, like we all do. Okay, let's look at the stone you all gravitated towards. This is called danbarite. Looks like crystal, huh? But it's danbarite. Who needs it? Emos, goths, buttoned up white collar stress cases. When to use it? When the daily grind has ground you into the pavement, when you feel like launching into space but lack the astronaut training. Vibing with danbarite can help divert your busy mind away from its pesky physics-ruled orientation. There's somewhere else out there. Flip on the high beams and explore. And at the bottom it says, turn on your electric light. Okay, some of you have recently started embarking on some very futuristic endeavors. I see that a lot of you have started investing in things like cryptocurrency or, yeah, I feel like for a lot of you it's been like cryptocurrency or even like new sort of platforms, new sort of ideas. You're really getting into this pioneering spirit. I almost feel the energy of like thousands of years ago when we hadn't explored the whole world yet, kind of like a sea merchant that goes out there to travel to other parts of the world and see what are they selling and creating in China and what are they selling and creating in India, and kind of discovering new things, and kind of how exciting that energy must have felt to come back home and say, hey, I found a new place on the world map that we didn't know existed. Let me tell you what it's all about. There's so much more out there than what we thought. I feel like you guys have stepped into that mindset recently where you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm in this progress that the world has never seen. Like at 500 years from now, people are going to look back on this period. There's going to be a special name for it, like the Renaissance period, the medieval period. Like there's going to be some sort of special name for the moment I'm in right now. And I want to be one of the pioneers. I want to be ahead of the game. So you're taking some risks with your money and with some new things you're trying out. They all feel connected to technology or something very futuristic, scientific, something like that. And Spirit's really, really happy for you, because you guys feel like in your younger years you took on this more, you had a rebellious streak, a rebellious attitude. You guys could have been rockers, goths, emos, anarchists, something like that. You guys feel rebellious in your teenage years, but then it's like life kind of came along and you fell into the same sort of 9 to 5 typical societal role, and it was one that you never thought you would find yourself in, and it kind of felt sad for you, I think. I mean, I don't see that you wallowed in a lot of sadness. You just kind of accepted that, okay, this is reality and this is how it is. But you finally feel reawakened once again. You're getting back in touch with your authentic self, which is more of a rebellious, pioneering sort of spirit. And the universe is really happy for you, really excited to see you back in this younger, feistier sort of energy. So let's take a roll of the die, and then we'll look at the tarot. All right, we have the moon in Virgo in the 11th house. So some of you may have your moon in Virgo, but the 11th house is about our hopes and wishes and dreams. It's about what sort of rewards do we want to receive for our progress. So like the 10th house is our progress. Like the 10th house would be, for example, getting your master's degree in something and then getting a career in that. Whereas the 11th house is like the award you got for the progress you made in your career, the money that you received or the bonuses you received because of whatever you did in your career. So you really got your sights set on the possibilities of, you know, the money that you could make, the rewards that you could have, the benefits you could receive, like these, your highest goals, dreams, wishes, and hopes, kind of bringing those to life. And your mind feels very activated and stimulated during this time, which is the moon. The moon represents our mind, our emotions. Virgo is a very critical sort of energy. Virgo wants to look at everything and find what's wrong and fix it. Like, okay, let me look at this. This is out of place. Let me fix that. Let me adjust that. So Spirit's also wanting to congratulate you on the fact that one difference between where you're at now versus where you were teenage years is this Virgo energy. You found this nice balance of, okay, I'm going to indulge my rebelliousness, my rebellious side, my shocking side, my wild side. I'm going to indulge it, but with restraint. I'm going to keep a smart mind about me, a practical mind about me, and make sure that I'm looking for the red flags, that I'm analyzing everything with a diligent mind, and you're doing great. And that's going to keep you protected. So it's nice because you're entering a phase of life where you do get to kind of let go, be wild and free, but also know that you're keeping yourself protected from potential pitfalls and things like that. So your intuition's really on point at this time. You know, the moon's all about that. And you're allowing your gut instinct to guide you, but you're also using your critical thinking to help analyze things as they come in. So yeah, especially for those of you investing in like crypto coin, you're making some really smart choices. Even though other people may look at your investments and think, well, that's a risk. For you, actually, it's not, because before you invest in anything, you'll watch 20 videos about it. You'll learn what the projections are. So it's not like you're just picking any random thing to put your money into. You're really being smart about it, and you will receive the rewards for that. That's what the 11th house is about. It's going to be, for some of you, it may be like a slow and steady sort of progress. It won't be an all at once big pot of gold, but it's going to be a stable sort of progress, a grounded sort of progress, and it won't be chaotic. That Virgo energy is going to keep it from being chaotic, but you're also getting to indulge in this sort of pioneering spirit that you have. You want to be the first, you know, you want to be able to look back and say, I was one of the first people that believed in this, that invested in this, that learned about this, and that is who you are. And I feel like it's been a long time since you've been able to claim that for yourself and identify as that type of person, but you're doing it again. You are back. You're back, baby. That's all I got to say. Okay, let's look at the tarot cards. We have the Wheel of Fortune. Fantastic. That's fantastic for any sort of crypto investment. Not all of you are investing in crypto coin, though. I know I need to not keep honing in on that, but you are investing in something that's very progressive, very forward thinking, and also has an element of risk to it. Risk and reward. And for this to come up, this is great. Wheel of Fortune is like, that's like the slot machine at the casino that just so happens to spin on that jackpot number. This card is about luck being on your side. A new phase is here. The tide is in. The time to move is now. And you guys are so tapped into your intuition that you know how to move, when you need to make this move, when you need to do that. Okay, we also have the Two of Swords, the Nine of Cups, the Hanged Man, and the Five of Swords. Yeah, you guys' intuition, my God, it is so on point. And you also are at a phase in your life right now where you're not being, I feel like before you guys really tried to refrain about bragging on yourself or your accomplishments, or maybe you didn't feel good about your accomplishments, but now you're in a space where you're like, no, you know what? I need to own up to my accomplishments. I don't need to like dim them down or try and make them sound worse than what they are. Try and make myself sound like I'm being realistic and that's why I'm not really bragging. No, you know what? I am going to brag about this because I'm freaking good at this. And that's the truth. And I know I am because I've spent hours, you know, studying this, learning about it. And yes, I am good. And look what I earned from it. I did that myself. Isn't that awesome? Like I see you actually being, so like confident enough, proud of yourself in a way that you want to share it with others. And that's really great. Spirit's really happy for you. This right here is another card that's like being tapped into your intuition. This woman has to make a decision. Is she going to go with this sword or that sword? She is blindfolded. The moon is out representing her intuition. It's night. We can't clearly see what's going on, but she's going to make the right decision because she knows what her gut is telling her to do. She's tapped into her gut instinct, her intuition. And for you guys, it's really, really high. You guys keep listening to your gut, keep listening to your instinct. With the Hanged Man, I see that a lot of you used to suffer from like crippling anxiety, high anxiety, and you've now moved into a more peaceful state, the Hanged Man, knowing that, you know what, in this situation, I've got my hands tied. There's nothing I can do in my outside reality, so I'm not going to stress about it. I'm just going to focus on my own inner enlightenment, my own inner peace, how I can connect with my peace, how I can stay strong and stable. And you guys have some of you really used to suffer from anxiety terribly. And you guys, it's like you've cleaned the slate, you've wiped it away, you've figured out the appropriate coping mechanisms, what helps you, what doesn't, maybe what medications are helpful, which ones aren't. And it's like, that's no longer even an obstacle that you're dealing with. I don't sense that you have an abnormal level of anxiety before. And in the past, I can see that you did. So that's amazing, you guys. And then with the Five of Swords, this is about fighting the battles that need to be fought. I feel like for a long time, there was an insecurity. There was a part of you that was like, no, I really need to conform. You know, you started out rebellious, then you completely conformed. Now you're getting back in touch with that rebellious side. And you know what you've been able to do with that rebellious side over the past few years? You've been able to stand up for yourself. You've been able to speak your mind. You've been able to fight for what you want. You've been able to draw a line for people in the sand. I feel like there were relationships where you weren't treated right, romantically, friendships, bosses, your work life. And I don't know, you guys got really emboldened over the past few years You started demanding what you knew you were worth and speaking up for yourself and being like, hey, I don't like the way you spoke to me. That was really rude. I don't like that you aren't appreciating me for how much I put into this relationship, how much I put into my job. I don't feel like I'm being recognized, and you guys are going to lose me if you don't learn to recognize my worth. I'm not being paid enough. I can see all these conversations happening, and it's so badass, and I'm so proud of you guys. I think this is awesome. You guys are really stepping into, and you've really stepped into a new version of you, a more confident, more secure, more bold, more brave version of yourself. And you're demanding what you're worth from the world. You know what you're worth, and you're also taking some really cool pioneering risks with your life. Risks that would scare other people off, that you're like, maybe it'll scare you off, but I've done the studying, I've done the research, and I know the payoff is good, so it's okay. I'll take that jump. You guys can stand back. I'll let myself have all the gold. If you guys don't want to share it with me, okay, that's fine. I'm going underwater and getting it. So you're doing some things other people would be scared to do, but you're also being smart and strategic about it. And Spirit also is coming through to say, don't try to get everyone on board with this. It's not your job to save everyone. If they can't see this for what it's worth, it's not your job to try and convince them. That just means there'll be more pie for you. Like if they don't want a slice of pie, that means more for you. And you know what? You earned it anyways. This pile's really even like, if you go back and listen to some of the other piles, I'm talking differently for this pile than I did for the others because the energy here is so electric, so brave, so it's very divine masculine, this pile is, but I'm enjoying it. Okay, so we have the homeless woman. Oh, and we have the little boy with the world on his shoulders. We have a healthy self-esteem card. It says true wisdom is maintaining a balance between pushing and holding back, balancing detailed perfection with allowing some imperfection. That's like this card, the Hanged Man, with that Moon in Virgo card. We have a healing fear card. It says, I can be happy even if someone disagrees or disapproves of me. Let's see what you have successfully surrendered over the past few months or years. You have surrendered fear. Yes, that must have been what the anxiety was from. There was a deep fear down inside of you that you have let go of, surrendered. Good job, you guys. You have also surrendered to spirit, also like the Hanged Man, which is about spiritual enlightenment. You're more connected to your spiritual self, which connects you better with your intuition, which allows you to take smarter risks with a better payoff, because your intuition and spirit is guiding you to the right answer, the right choice, the right step. Look at these two cards. This is the energy that you guys used to be in. This homeless woman feels worthless. She feels as if she is worth nothing. She doesn't know her value, right? She feels like she deserves to be out begging on the streets for someone to help her out, to feed her. She doesn't believe she's capable. This is the energy you guys were in. Not only that, you felt worthless, and at the same time, you felt that you were responsible for the world. Maybe you had kids that you knew you were responsible for, bills, approval of parents or partners and loved ones. Like the weight of the world was on your shoulders, and it was crippling you. And you also didn't feel worthy to carry that load. You didn't know your value. And you guys, I don't know what the heck happened, because the cards aren't showing it for me. It's almost like, I don't know what the heck happened with you guys. It's not saying it here, but all of that negative energy is like, bam, gone. And you guys are so confident. And even if your outside appearance hasn't changed a bit, okay, people are perceiving you as much more attractive than they used to, because it's like, you know your worth, and people can smell that from a mile away. It's intoxicating. They can see it. So you honestly look more attractive than you've ever looked. You look more attractive. You're more alluring. You're more captivating to people. And it's just because of this shift in attitude. Then we have this card that talks about maintaining a balance between pushing and holding back, perfection while allowing imperfection. This has to do with this Virgo moon energy, with finally letting go of fear and surrendering to the Hanged Man. So you've learned how to, you become very effective at being detail-oriented in the areas that you know you're capable of being in, and then letting go of the areas that you know don't need to be so detail-oriented. Whereas before, well, when you were younger, I feel like you were completely chaotic, okay? And then you went into adulthood and became completely detail control-oriented, right? And now you got this nice balance of, you know what, not everything needs such a critical lens on it, okay? I'm not gonna waste my time focusing on all the details of everything. Here's the areas where I need to focus on, here's where I don't. And you guys, a lot of you are definitely going to be getting promoted at your job pretty soon because of these changes. People around you see this in you. They want you to lead their teams. They want your input for the organization because you're freaking smart, you guys. You are smart and you know your worth. You're oozing of confidence. You're oozing of self-esteem. And this other card that says you can be happy even if someone disagrees or disapproves of you. This is kind of what this card was about. It's like, you know what? I don't want to be treated this way anymore, so I'm going to say something. And if the person disagrees with me or disapproves of me, I'll still at least be happy knowing that I said what I needed to say, that I know that they did me wrong. And let them disagree, let them disapprove. We'll either work it out or we won't, but I've got to know that I'm taking care of myself, that I'm standing up for myself, that I'm demanding what I am worth. This has changed all of your relationships. It's changed the trajectory of your career, and you guys are pioneers. You guys are someone that 50 years from now, you can say, you know, I was one of the first ones a part of whatever trend or technological advancement or whatever it was. You guys are one of the first because you guys are adventurers. You guys are explorers. You guys have this wildness inside of you that has been wanting to come out for a long time. I would recommend to watch my Divine Masculine Archetype reading if you haven't, because there's a particular pile in there that I feel is a very special message to one of you. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. Whew, your energy got me fired up, I gotta say. I usually am exhausted on the last pile, but the energy it's just good. It's fiery, it's energetic. I love it. So congratulations on all the progress you guys have made on demanding what you're worth, knowing your value. This is great, you guys. I'm really excited for you. So thank you so much for coming to this reading, and I look forward to seeing you all at next week's Pick a Card reading. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up before you head out. It would mean a lot to me. Okay, love you guys.